Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is another week, Thursday, March 9th, 2023. I hope you are all feeling great today and feeling energized. I know that I am, and I'm especially energized because we have a really wonderful guest for our fireside chat today. And we're going to be talking and focusing on women in education, but also kind of what's going on in our schools and especially around the issue of youth and their mental health and the role that truly educators and everyone has to play in making all of this really a great environment for our young people that are within the schools. So I welcome you and I thank you for joining us today. I want to start out by uh, acknowledging one that it is Social Work Awareness Month, Social Work Appreciation Month. So if you didn't know, now you know. If you know a social worker out there, definitely give them a hug for all that they do. They are working really hard in our schools. And that's actually going to be a little bit about what we're talking about today. So I want to welcome our very special guest. I'm just going to give a few points about her first and then let her say a little something about herself. So we welcome with us today Miss Tolene Dickerson. She's currently in education. She's been in education and youth services for many years now. She chairs the Education and Youth Services Committee at Community Board 12 in the Bronx, which is my section of the Bronx. So I'm so appreciative to her for all the work that she's doing with our community board. Tolene has been a retired teacher. She has more than 20 years of experience working in New York City Department of Education with backgrounds and lots of practical knowledge around special education, working with mainstream students as well, both in and outside of the classroom setting. She's been a dean, but definitely her passion is working directly with the youth and working directly with the young people. She has done supervised programs around continuing education, ESL, GED placement classes, as well as testing. She knows so many techniques when it comes to crisis intervention, de-escalation techniques, bereavement counseling when it comes to the youth. She's handled, as a dean, of course, you're going to handle a whole lot of issues around behavior management, but you also get to the nitty-gritty of things that are behind it, right? So domestic violence, substance use, and substance abuse, lots of things that are going on with our young people. She has seen it all, and she's held out some very wonderful titles in addition to principal and dean, such as being chapter chair for the United Federation of Teachers for 14 years, political action captain for District 8 and 11 for the past 15 years. She's been a facilitator for the Aspire After School program within District 8. There's so much that she has done, and it's such a joy and a pleasure, again, to have Miss Tolene Dickerson with us today. Tolene, how are you feeling?
Hi, Ms. Stewart. It's my pleasure. It is truly an honor to sit with you today.
Oh yeah, the honor is all mine. Like I said, you've been in my district that I was born and raised, so all the work that you do is so greatly appreciated. So
Yeah.
it's a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. So let's jump into a little bit of the topic. If you wanna, I think let's talk about our schools. And one of the main reasons we want to talk about the schools is because our wonderful Mayor Adams has been talking a lot around mental health, specifically children and youth's mental health, and issued a plan. So there's a plan that's out there um, that we want to talk a little bit about, as well as do a little bit more deep diving, right? Because we want to know what's behind the plan, what's the need, and it's the CARE Community Action Plan, a mental health plan for New York City. And there are some specific goals that our mayor has implemented for this plan as it relates to children and youth. The first goal was providing children and youth with mental health care that is considered
needed to be timely, culturally responsive, accessible, and affordable. The second goal was improving access to prevention interventions for children and youth that are exposed to different risk factors. The third goal was increasing awareness and understanding of children and youth's mental health and how to care for it. And the last thing that we're going to kind of hone in a little bit is the fourth goal, which is creating environments, whole environments that equitably support good mental health for children and youth. And what environment outside of their own home do they spend the most time in? And that's our schools, our city schools. So I wanted to talk a bit about that. So you've done, again, a lot of work within the schools. You've been a principal, you've been a dean. What have you noticed in your time, in your work within New York City public schools that you feel we really should be focused on? What are the issues?
I would have to say, I guess the main issue goes back to something that my mother said that I lived closely by and stay with my whole life, and it's the way we were brought up, which was if you don't find something for children to do, somebody else will find something for them to do. So the concern is who is finding something for our children to do? Who is it? What are they doing? It's unfortunate that we went through the whole experience of COVID, and everybody being locked up and being in the house. When I worked in the school system, I was hands on. So I was that teacher, I was the dean, and I was that person that would come to your house and knock on your door, or either be standing outside waiting for you, or drive through your block at night, or go by your mother's job or by the laundry while you're doing. I mean, it's hands on. So that's a very important part of what's necessary. Our children right now are they're somewhat lost. That's the best way I can put it. They don't have any of the outside programs that would normally be in place. You know, when I was working, we had after school basketball. We had all kind of sports programs, swimming. We had Saturday programs, Sunday programs. We had apprenticeships, all kinds of opportunities for our scholars to learn about different occupations. So there was CTE, CTLE positions, so they could learn trades. All of that stuff is important. So right now they've been in the house or not, and it's very unfortunate. So a lot of times people don't understand that the person that students speak to is not always a counselor or a teacher. Sometimes it's the school safety agent. Sometimes it's the lady in the cafeteria. Sometimes it's another person outside, or it's the custodian in the school. So this is what's missing. This is what was missing. So they didn't have these particular people that they were accustomed to sharing things with, and their ability to talk to. We all know, if you have any children, at a certain age, it gets to the point where you don't know anything, right? As the parent, yeah, you don't know anything. So I always said that the key is having someone that you trusted, and someone that you knew to deliver your message to your child, to make sure that you were in sync. So
I love that idea.
yeah, so it's very important. I mean, I used to always find out through the parents, who it was, or what it was they were trying to say. It's a village, it's a team effort raising a child. Um, I'm looking at, there are a lot of great initiatives that the mayor is bringing forth, and the most important ones are working a lot with school safety, with the police department, with the counselors, with CBOs, with any kind of programs that can reach out and pull our kids back in, because our kids are in the street, literally in the street. It
Right.
disturbs me to no end because I retired in 2017. And so I still keep in contact with my kids. I still speak to a lot of them. And a lot of kids still, they'll have friends and they'll all get together on a call and we do Zoom and we do different things still. During the summers, I had a summer program with PAL, which was the Play Streets. So all during the summer, I had the kids out.
Yes, my son participated in that. It's a
Right.
wonderful
So
program.
it's an awesome program. I did that. I mean, I was with PAL over 43 years. Started out as a participant to becoming a counselor, a rec specialist, and then a site director. So these things, I mean, we didn't have them. They didn't have any summer camps during COVID. They didn't have the after school programs. The one that you mentioned, Aspira, that was an after school program. They had so many programs through the DA's office, that were uh, programs that brought in gang members to bring, to speak to our children, to make them understand what's going on, because
Right.
they're at this point having people that are really not gang members. They're what I choose to call posers, and so they're bringing our kids into thinking that they're doing something, big and great, and it's not. So I mean, it's just a matter. It's the conversation that's so important. It's having people there to speak to the children. So this initiative, having the mental health piece, the kids, you'd be surprised what we say children are walking around with, what they have, what they're
Yes,
packed with. You would be shocked.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with what you're saying, Ms. Dickerson. When you think about the young people, we take for granted that everything should be fine, right? Sometimes we look at them and we're like, all you have to do is your homework. Like, just do your work, go to school, pass your classes, and all will be right in the world, right? You graduate, all will be right in the world. But it's like the world around them has so many issues. Sometimes the households they're growing up in, so many issues. It's like, how can you concentrate, right? So
Right.
I think, in terms of our schools, we've kind of eradicated a little bit one issue, right? Which is what the hunger, right? So we went from kind of charging parents for breakfast and lunch, and to now all kids get free lunch, right? Because you can't concentrate in school when you're hungry. So it kind of takes care of that part. But there's more than hunger that children are coming to school with, that hungry feeling. There are so many things that are going on in their heads and their hearts that are weighing on them, that they sometimes don't want to talk about. And like you said, unless they have the right person to talk with, that will honestly make them feel comfortable, make them feel like they're in a safe place and able to have conversation without, it being judged, without it really coming back to them. So they just carry this weight around all the time
Mhm.
without unpacking it anywhere. And again, how can you concentrate now that your belly is full? How can you concentrate when there are all of these other things that are happening and taking place? So it is so important, as you mentioned, that we are creating whole environments. The school environment is in totality a safe place for all young people to feel like they can have someone to talk to and have someone to go to. So I know we talked about social workers um, kind of being that front line, but as you mentioned, it's not just them, because they may feel safe talking with the cafeteria person. So there are definitely other players within the school building that also need this information, need this education on how to work with young people that may be experiencing a mental health challenge.
Yeah, it's to me, it's also very important for the people that are working with our children to be culturally sensitive. They have to be aware of
Yeah.
where they are working, what type of people they are working with, what are the basic needs, and what's going on in that community. So I used to tell the teachers that I worked with to get in your car, drive to work, get back in your car, and go home is one thing. But I said you gotta, go out at lunch, walk around, go to the first thing I would do when I started working at a school, I'd go to the neighborhood, give everybody in the stores my phone number, all the supermarket, the pizza, the Chinese food place, every place, and say, kids get in here and they get to clowning around, call me. Just text me, and when just say they're here, and
Mm,
I'll come out to your place. And that used to be a very important part, the part that the whole community has to be involved. When you have things, you go to the store and say, you need somebody here to sweep your floor in the afternoon, or to bag up, I have a young man that can come and work here with you, whatever. It has to be that they have to be involved. They have to take ownership of the community.
yeah,
They have to understand that this is their
absolutely.
right. So it's a very, it's a very important part. I mean, I had to go work at the AMP when I was, like 14, when I was growing up. My mother didn't play. She didn't play at all. We were in every club I was in every club that you could think of. I went to Catholic school, so, the nuns don't play either. But
That's right.
it's a matter, you have to keep, your children busy. It's so important. It
Yes.
may seem, you got to get involved. And I used to tease the parents. I used to say, okay, I'm raising you, and I'm raising all of y'all, at the same time, because sometimes you are, because sometimes the parents don't know, they don't understand what to look for. They're busy doing what they have to do to make it every
That's
day.
right.
So they need that assistance. The teachers, the people that work in the school need to understand that this is also needed. So, we used to have, I know I used to have clean white t-shirts, socks, notebooks, pencils, all kind of stuff in my office, because you never know. A child come to school and they haven't had a chance to go, their parent hasn't gone to the laundry. It's such small things that make their
Right.
day. It's such small kids are rough. They're very rough in terms of what they say.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they
Yes.
will
And
hurt
look, like you
you.
said, going to school with a dirty shirt may lead to potential bullying, right? And being
Exactly.
picked on, and
Exactly.
next thing you know, there's an issue, right?
Mhm. So everybody has to
So
get,
yeah,
this
I
is
think
all
we
mental
definitely got to
health.
address.
Yeah, this is all mental health. And you have to, you pay attention a lot of times. So that's why it was good to have the after school programs, and the other programs, the Saturday programs. I had programs on Sunday. I used to tease the kids, and they used to say, Miss D, what don't you don't have nothing to do? And I used to tell them, I used to say, I'm single. I said, so if you worried, you could say a prayer, that God finds this husband for
That's
me.
right, right.
I said, and then I won't have time, to come and bother y'all. I said, but until then,
That's right. Look,
got
working
you.
with you is
Right,
my
right,
something to do, right?
right.
That's what I'm doing. Which
Yeah, but
totally makes sense, and they need it. And I
mhm,
love the fact that you took the initiative to go out into the community and, in a way, bring the community into the school. Because you're right, it absolutely takes a village. And I think sometimes we have a very short sighted view of what
mhm,
the village is and who's in the village, who's part of the village. Anybody that might have an eye on your child is part of the village because they can
exactly.
say something when they see something, right? Your neighbors, like you said, the person at the corner store,
Mhm.
likewise, the pizzeria shop, they start to know your faces. I know even with my nephews, like my sister would go through the drive-through at the local McDonald's.
And the person at the window was say, I know your kids. They come in here, they come to
Mhm.
McDonald's after school, knew
Right.
exactly who they were. Oh, they're always so well mannered and like well behaved and all that good stuff. And so it's like people are watching.
Yeah.
So and when you think they're not watching, people are watching.
It's a it's a full commitment. It's a full commitment.
Yes.
And I used to tell the teachers when I was the union rep, the chapter leader, I used to say, if you can't commit, if you can't do this, if you rush your clock in and then, you walking out the door with the kids when it's time to clock out. I said, then, you got to work this out. I said, because this is when the kids come to you after school, when nobody's around, when they don't want nobody to see them. This is when
That's
they
right.
come to you. When you're outside, when you run outside to move your car or whatever it is you got to do, this is when they come to you. In the stairwells, when you're going on lunch, sometimes you can't eat lunch. Sometimes take your lunch and go sit with the kids. They'd be
Right.
like, oh no, but it's fun. They need to feel that. They need to feel it. Okay.
Absolutely. Because not all of them feel, um and it's not to say that of course not every household,
No,
especially every household of color, is
correct.
lacking in love, but then we certainly do have those households within our communities where that bond between parent and child just really doesn't exist. And
Exactly.
the things that children need, that closeness,
Hmm.
that sense of being loved, that sense of being valued, doesn't exist for them. So if the rest of us aren't willing to fill in that gap and be that bridge between feeling loved and feeling unloved, and feeling valued and feeling unvalued, then these children will continue to have these issues and problems. And as you mentioned at the beginning when you started talking, as your mother so wisely told you, if we are not filling in the gap, somebody else will fill in that gap. Somebody else will give them something to do. And it may not be something positive. It may not be something beneficial. It may be something that leads them down a completely different road and brings them, look, to even a worse mental health place than where they were when they initially started, right?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly. It's
so
it's confusion.
we have to be the bridge.
Right. Yeah. My mother told me that that the name of the gang that I belonged to was the Dickerson gang, and that was it.
Right.
She was she wasn't playing. I mean, you remember, how we grew up when you were in the same neighborhood. You walk by somebody's house, you're someplace, people are like, "What are you doing?" And you had to answer questions according to where you were. But now people don't feel. You have people that are literally afraid of children, and I mean, unfortunately,
Yes.
rightly so in some cases. But if I tell people, if they look at sometimes they look at the kids when you see things that are happening, it's a group of them, right?
Right.
You very rarely see one child doing something, right? It's usually a group.
Right.
I used to always say, imagine if one person in that group decided to say, no, 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 let's not do this, let's not go there, let's not do this. I give you a better example. When it first came out, when boys were sagging their pants,
Yes.
when that first came out,
I still hate it.
I know I hate it every day. And I told my boys in school one day, I said, just imagine if that guy, the first guy that you saw sagging pants, instead of his pants sagging, had a book in his hand. I said, so then everybody would now
Yes.
be walking around with books, right? I said, because you don't know why you did it. You don't know. You just followed what you saw. I said, so just imagine, wouldn't it
The
have been
trend
nice?
of the day, right?
Yeah, I said, wouldn't it have been nice if he had just had a book in his hand? I said, then everybody would just be walking around with a book. And the boys they'd be like, yeah, okay, Miss D, okay, okay. But it's just a matter of it's effort. It's a lot of effort.
Right. Right. And, I want to touch on something that you mentioned a little bit. You mentioned that in some cases, it is rightfully so that you're a little afraid of the children because
Mhm.
there are young people that are part of gangs and things like that. So, how does safety kind of play a role in, children's mental health nowadays, especially within the schools? How does safety play a role?
It's I know when, let's say, when I was working at Evander, okay, and Evander has 6 high schools in one building. So, I mean, when we first started before COVID, whatever, they were close to, I want to say 12, maybe 12 to 15 uh, school safety agents. on the premises, dismissal, at all times. Now, because of the cutback, there are schools that have one safety agent, two safety agents, and you have 400 kids in a building.
Mm.
The children don't feel safe. I mean, I'm looking at my granddaughter. My granddaughter's she just started as a freshman, and she called me the other day. I'm leaving school, and then she called me back, Grandma. We're on lockdown. There's a guy outside our school with a gun. And then I had to literally sit down and have a conversation with her, about the next day going back to school.
Right,
I
right.
said to them, they have to have, even in school, you have to have a conversation, because now the kids are like, I don't want to go to school because it's a constant conversation. You have to keep it going. You can't just say, okay, y'all are locked down, y'all go home. Then tomorrow, we'll go on. Constant conversation. So now that happened, this is what we're going to do to keep you safe. You send, backpack stuff home, contact the parents. This is what happened to your student today, to your child today. And this is the conversation you should have. So it's a constant thing. So it's what they're doing now is going to be really good in school. They have the New York City School Safety Initiative. Coalition. Sorry, School Safety Coalition. And so they're working hard. They've been doing summits in each borough. So we're putting together a summit now that's going to be at our new Northeast Y, the YMCA. So we're going to
Yes,
do a youth
yes.
summit, and we chose the date. Councilman Kevin Riley and we sat down. We had a conference, and we decided that it would be in May, because it's not like Mental Health Month, but I believe there's a week in there, so we're going to spread it out and make it Mental Health Month, and have a youth summit where they'll have everything there. Every possible thing. Dial a teacher, smoke free. Every organization will be represented in that place, in that gym. The parents will be able to come. Everybody can come and become informed. They have panelists. It's something that we need to do. They never have a summit in the Bronx. They had a summit
Right,
every
right.
borough but the Bronx.
Oh, well, the Bronx is long overdue then, huh?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I'm
Oh,
really looking
well,
forward.
look, so is I. I will make sure that I am there for
Oh,
sure,
you'll be there. Yes.
because we definitely want to,
I
be
already have
part of
your
that
spot. You
conversation.
already have a spot.
There you go. iRays will be in the place,
Yes,
you
yes, you already have a spot. I spoke to Ms. Moore
you will
already.
be in the place.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So yeah,
Because
I
wait,
think,
can I just say
when it
this real quickly? That
yes,
we're
absolutely.
a lot of times they're focusing on the young men, and don't realize that our young women get pulled in as well. They get pulled in as
That's
well.
right.
And a lot of people don't realize, because they're not expecting young women. So, these particular people say, okay, so we'll have the girls do this, or you can do this. We're going to get you this, or whatever. You know what I mean? However it works out. But they're pulling our young women in. And it's very
That
important.
is so
They,
interesting
yeah.
that you say that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do. You feel like there are forgotten groups? Because I will say this. I sometimes I do believe that, when we talk about youth and mental health, when it comes to the schools, everyone thinks special education. They're thinking special education, they're thinking IEPs,
Mhm.
they're thinking, mandated counseling services, but not every child has an IEP. And not every child is receiving mandated counseling services within the schools. So, do you think that there is kind of a lack when it comes to the school environment where we're kind of missing certain groups or populations of children within the schools in terms of addressing their mental health needs?
Well, you hit on my certification and my background with special education. So when I started out as a crisis intervention teacher, which they don't have them anymore. That was the one person in your school that could jump in, and actually grab a child and pull them, or move them out of a situation or whatever, because we were trained to do that. Okay,
Right.
so only a couple of people can do that. I used to tell the teachers, I don't advise you to jump in anywhere and grab anybody. Okay, don't do it. Don't do this. Same thing I used to tell them about going in certain buildings. No, do not be going up in the project if you're not, there's a certain presence that you need to have. But so that's like a very important part when we deal with our students with IEPs. A lot of times the parents, of course, this is what they initiated. Usually they ask for the help because they do not know how to help their child, or they recognize they're in the house with this child, they raised this child, they gave birth to this child, and realize that there's something that's missing, or there's something that needs to be fine-tuned, right? So during COVID, when our children, our special education students were in the home, and
Right.
it missed a lot. They're talking now. They're saying that our kids are so far behind. Students in general are so far behind because of that uh, remote situation. But I mean, when you have a child with an IEP, services are addressed all day long. You have teachers that push into classes to help. You have students that are removed from certain classes and given, help, special, speech therapy or whatever. And then you have to understand that back in the day, when a student, and this is my opinion and observation, this is my disclaimer, okay, that a lot of children that acted out, right, because of whatever else was going on, were immediately thought of as students that needed an IEP or special education services, which was not always the case. Not always, right? So
Right.
it's a lot. It's a lot as a special education teacher. There's a lot that you do. Um, it's meant to be a close um, a close relationship with the parents or the caregivers or wherever the students are, and everybody needs to understand. I used to tell my students that the first class that the word special never meant a bad thing. Okay, I used to
That's
tell them,
right.
right,
That's
it
right.
doesn't mean a bad thing. And I used to ask the schools where I worked, when they made announcements over the PA system, do not say special education students, da 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 da. I used to say, please say class 305, class 207, class da 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 da, and stop making it that they're separated. Or so I used to tell them it's never been a bad thing. I used to tell them, look up the word special. I said, you have a special sale,
Right.
right? I said, it's never a bad thing. So don't think of special education. I said, you're getting extra time, you're getting extra attention. I said, there are a lot of people that would love to have this. There are a lot of students that really need it, that have not even been recognized, right? That it's not just these particular students. You can sit in a class and every student could use this assistance in one way or another. But the
Absolutely.
counseling and all the extra help it's a beautiful thing. It really is. And some, continues on to college. And yeah, I always thought of it as a real good thing. And I tried to teach them. It's not a bad, it's not, and it's not to be, not, it shouldn't be a label or a title.
That's right. That's right. I agree with you 100%, Mr. Person. Because one thing that I think that people sometimes forget is that all young people, that time of youth and adolescence, going through
Changes
Yeah.
constantly,
Right,
right? Sometimes you're processing information from your external environment, trying to figure it out for yourself. As a child, you're
right,
just trying to figure it out for yourself. And I said, even with the pandemic, every single day there were just a story day after day about how many people were dying from, in the beginning stages, how many people were dying from this virus. But then it's like, and as adults, we have these conversations up here about what's going on, but is anyone talking to the kids? Because the children are always listening.
Yes,
right? So they're
they are
looking
recording
at
devices. They are recording devices.
100%. So they're listening to you and, your adult friends having these conversations about, the virus, and then they're overhearing on the news that you're watching, but then no one's talking to them directly about everything that's going on. So that leaves them to process it for themselves, right?
Mhm.
And fear can come out of that, anxiety can come out of that, depression can come out of that. So I think, we definitely have to start getting to that place of realizing that everybody has mental health. Everybody,
All of us, all of
you
us.
know, has mental health challenges. There is something or another that can trigger us, set something off in our mind, get our attention going in a different direction. Every single one of us fall into that category. Some of us just have it, a little rougher, and need even greater support because we definitely don't want anyone harming themselves or getting to that point. But even young people that don't have an IEP, that don't have
Mhm.
mandated counseling services, can use that additional support, just as you said. And it's so crucial to have. And like you said, when we're working together, when that village is actually coming together, when everyone is informed about what it means, what mental health really means, and means, within just being a human being. So,
Mhm.
and how human beings are affected, by our mental state. It's so important just to have that information as a person so that, again, when you see a child sitting in the hallway or sitting on the staircase, don't just walk by them.
Right.
Check on them because you don't know what's going on. They could be
And
feeling
don't
sad about
yell
something.
and say, "Get back to class." Why are
That's
you sitting here?
right.
Right.
That's right. That's
Right.
right. So it's like we all need to learn to just come from that place of being a bit more compassionate, being a bit more inviting. And I know when it comes to case, I know we have to wrap up shortly, but when it comes to social workers in the building, there definitely aren't enough,
No.
like you said, of these individuals that can really focus on case management and working with the not only the children but the parents, as you mentioned
Thank you.
earlier. The parents sometimes have to be a part of that process and part of being worked with as well because they may have traumas that they have experienced, and it's manifesting itself in how they are parenting their child. So we want to give them that attention as well, and social workers can be those
Mhm.
voices and those access points within the building that are really providing that level of service and that level of contact for the families. So, and I know some of our partner schools that we've been in, as you may have one social worker that's there to support hundreds of students, and it's like,
Right.
how is that? It's not
Exactly.
sustainable.
This is, and when you were saying that, I was thinking about that. I said, as a teacher, you have uh, 28 kids, 28 in your class, and you're managing, and they're complaining about class size. So just imagine, guidance counselor. My niece is a guidance counselor. She had 200 and some, maybe 245, I think, if I'm not mistaken, children that she was in charge of. Seniors. So, and they're trying to get their life together and trying to do everything, and then you're talking to the parents and everything, and people that they're just not getting it. There needs to be more culturally sensitive people. Even we used to do classes for the parents in the evening. We used to have, so you can get them up to date on, computer use or maybe math or whatever
Right.
the situation is. Because I was laughing, they had a comedian on the other day, and he said that when he was in seventh grade, he was failing seventh grade. He said he failed seventh grade math terribly. He said, he said, I'm just here to tell you that if you have a child, he said, when your child gets to seventh grade, he said, what do you think is going to happen? He said, y'all are both going to be failing seventh grade math. He said, so you better get some help.
Right.
He said, because, you have to help. Or you have to be able to say, I can't do it, so we're going to do this.
Right.
Dial a teacher. They have different, you can go online. Come on, it's better than anything in the world right now. You can go online and find a tutor and find someone
That's
teaching
right.
whatever it is that you don't know online. It's the most beautiful thing, right? And they don't mind looking at the
There's help everywhere, right?
no, but they don't mind looking
That's
at
right. There's help to be had.
exactly, exactly.
There is help to be had, and I think that's definitely the important part for all of us to remember is, as we are again walking through our schools, as we are walking through our communities, can you be that person for a young person that can make a difference? So, just consider different things. So, we know the ones that are out there in the trenches, like you like how you were doing, working with the young people in the schools and in the community programs.
Mhm.
But just those of you who may not be doing anything, hey, consider becoming a mentor. It may not hurt,
Exactly.
and it can really make a difference and impact the life of a child. You just don't know
Mhm.
what level of impact that you might have. So, and
There
we
are a
can,
lot of
when we
resources.
talk about creating,
Mhm.
yes, yes, and when we talk about creating, kind of safe mental health environments and healthy mental health environments, that could be the community as a whole. So we were kind of focused on the school building, but the community as a whole, if we can get to that
Exactly.
point of healing and evolving and doing better and just looking at things a little differently, there's no telling what we can do, what great impact that we can have together.
We were just talking about putting together a group of young people to go to visit the nursing homes, to go sit down with the seniors and speak, because a lot of seniors don't have family that comes to visit them, right? And then a lot of children
Right.
don't have mama, grandma, or somebody in the house to, they can go. It's amazing. You have to figure it out. You cannot just sit there, go do your job and go home. I mean, I personally don't see how you do it. I mean, I don't. Everybody's got to.
Right.
We got to chip in. This was a dire situation. Nobody expected for us to be
Yes,
locked up. For all of that
that's
amount of
right.
time. So we have to adjust, and
That's right.
it's like Call of Duty. Come on.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. Call of
Mhm.
Duty. So I thank you. I thank you so much for just sharing your voice and your opinion and giving some voice to what's going on within the schools and with our young people and speaking up on their behalf because we all have to advocate for them, right? If they're not in that position or feeling comfortable to speak up for themselves, we as those loving and trusted adults around them, we have to step up and make sure that we are doing that. So I just want to really thank you for being here with us today, Ms. Dickinson, and again sharing your words of wisdom.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I feel blessed, for this opportunity. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and if you don't know how to do it, find somebody, ask somebody, call somebody. Look
That's
on your
right. That's
look on your
right.
phone and say, I don't know how to do this, and you'll have 100 different ways you can find out how to do it. You have to ask.
And that's the truth.
No, I'm serious.
That's the truth.
How do I make this fried chicken? You get about 25 different recipes on how to do that. It's the same way as saying, how can I do these decimals or da, 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 da. Same thing. You can find it out. It's so easy. And then you learn and you feel good,
Look, YouTube.
right?
YouTube, right?
You feel good. You feel real good. You go, oh, wow, okay,
A
yeah. Wow.
lesson for everything.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, again, thank you so much, and I want to also say a special thank you to everyone that has joined us today and who got to listen to us today. We hope you got to enjoy a little lunch, a little break while you listen to us today, in case you're still working. But remember to share this with your network. Share these fireside chats because just like today, we talk about so many different topics that are truly important to what's going on. Um, within education, within the political world, within the churches. We have so many things that are going on in the community, and we bring those topics here because we want to make sure that everyone is informed, everyone is, getting the information that they need in order to make the proper decisions
Mhm.
within their life and for their loved ones. So definitely share this with your network, these fireside chats with your network, with your family, with your friends, to really amplify the conversation, because what we want to do is elevate the current socio-political issues within New York City. And don't forget to subscribe. We actually have a YouTube channel, I Raise Girls and Boys International Corporation. It's the name of our organization. Follow our CEO, Miss Shaniqua Moore's LinkedIn page at Shaniqua E. Moore. She has her Facebook page, Shaniqua E. Moore. Also, all these means to stay updated. Visit our website at www.iraiseinc.org. We are actually live with the Fireside Chats every Thursday, and with these interesting conversations, and of course with wonderful guests like Ms. Dickerson we had today. So I don't want to let you know about some upcoming initiatives that we wanted to mention. So we'll certainly keep you informed about the summit that Ms. Dickerson is planning for with Councilmember Kevin Riley for the month of May. We'll make sure to share that information with all of you. But we also want to talk about our executive coaching program. So I
Coaching program that our great CEO, Shaniqua Moore, is facilitating and instructing herself. So any young people that are out there and interested in starting a business or have started a business and looking to figure out how to elevate and take that business to the next level, how to take their themselves as a business owner and an executive within their business to the next level, certainly sign up for this program. You can go to our website, iRaiseInc.org/coaching program to find out more information about that. We also, in addition to our fireside chat here, we do a podcast in Atlanta. So iRaise is not only doing work here in New York, our hometown in New York, but we are looking to take the show on the road and really bring a lot of our programs into different areas of the country, because it's not just New York where children are suffering and where children and families are in need of help and assistance. So we're trying to go wherever the need is, and one of those places is Atlanta, Georgia. So we have our Atlanta Rise podcast. So you can search for Atlanta Rise podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you go to listen to podcasts, you should be able to find Atlanta Rise podcast there. You can also go to our website at iraiseinc.org/podcast to get more information. We do parent workshops, and we actually have one coming up next week on Thursday, March 16th at 6 p.m. We have the wonderful Dr. Melandria Justice, who's going to be talking to parents about how to advocate for their children. That is so important. Sometimes parents don't feel like they have a voice. As Ms. Dickerson kind of mentioned, the parents have their own issues and things that are going on, and sometimes we just allow the ones around us to tell us what's the best thing for our children. But who knows the children better than the parent, right? And so we definitely have to build up our parents and making sure that they understand what's going on with the needs of their child, and being able to express that to others around them in order to advocate for their child's best interest. So that is going to be the topic of our May 16th parent workshop. And you can certainly, again, visit iraiseinc.org/parents to find out more information about that workshop and to register. And lastly, I want to talk about our Parent Rise support group. So it's parents
we need to come together again. The parent voices is so important, not just in the schools but within our communities. So we have a support group every fourth Thursday. It is online, so you can certainly again go to iresinc.org/parents to find out more information about that. But iRaise has a whole host of different programs that we hope that everyone will take advantage of. Do visit our websites, learn about our tutoring programs, learn about our mentoring programs, our coaching programs, our career pathway programs for young people, and take advantage our in-school programs supporting youth mental health within the schools. We want to touch all the touch points. We are focused on holistic programs, so any way that we can support our young people, we want to do it. So check us out, and you will certainly hear more from us next week, Thursday. We will be back again with the Fireside Chat. So, everyone, have a fabulous day. Again, Ms. Dickinson, thank you for your time,
Thank
and
you.
have a great afternoon.
Bye bye.